these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Really do appreciate your time, no matter where you are, wherever you may be. On this edition, we're going to be putting a huge bow on week 4 for the New Orleans Saints after that embarrassing display that they called football on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And of course, we're going to be taking your calls and, discussing some of the things that transpired on Monday. But of course, shouts out to everybody in the chat. Shouts out to everybody listening around the country, around the world. I really do appreciate that. But let me go ahead and just get started, man. Of course, we already know the New Orleans Saints lose in embarrassing fashion, 26-9. On Sunday, week 4, against a division rival in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay has beaten the New Orleans Saints 3 consecutive times. They swept them last year, and they beat them this season. So I know that we like to make fun of Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, but to be quite honest with you, for the last couple games, they've had the New Orleans Saints number. But the New Orleans Saints got bigger fish to fry than to be concerned about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What they need to be concerned with is this offense. This offense has been extremely stagnant as of the making of this podcast. The Saints averaging 15 points per game as an offense. I'm going to say that again. In 2023, the New Orleans Saints are averaging 15 points a game. I mean, yesterday was just downright embarrassing. It was a stinker. It was at home. Fans were excited about coming out to see their team go up against the Buccaneers and possibly take over the division in the number 1 spot for at least another week. But when I look at the New Orleans Saints, to me, it just looks like a team that just does not have an identity. The New Orleans Saints do not know who they are. They're doing things without rhyme or reason, and that's a recipe for disaster, because when guys or players feel like you don't have what it takes to lead them in the right direction, you have a bunch of guys that are going to end up going rogue. And, the body language of Chris Olave on the sidelines, him sitting there in deep thought, not really getting a target until late in the fourth quarter, a guy with that type of ability. He went over 100 yards against the Green Bay Packers last week. He was really starting to establish himself as one of the top young receivers in the game. And you only can muster up about 4 targets for a guy that has that much promise. And then not to mention, you have a lot of playmakers that are out there that can make plays like the Shaheeds, like the Taysom Hills, but you lack to find ways to be able to utilize all of this talent. And, I wrote an article on Gumbo Pie Sports today. If you're actually checking this out on a Monday, I wrote it about Pete Carmichael, and I feel that Pete Carmichael needs to be fired. I say that with so much confidence. You have some people out here that's, trying to, give you a little blowback about Pete Carmichael as far as, who he is as a play caller, or it's the player's fault. But all I'm saying is a person that has logic, okay, a logical person can actually just see this, right? You had Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, and now you have Derek Carr out there. Every last one of these guys look virtually the same in an offense that is ran by Pete Carmichael. I mean, the one common denominator is Pete Carmichael. And Pete Carmichael has been with the Saints. This is his 15th season. But I just think that you need to go in a different direction. You need to move on from, this dude. Like, the NFL is constantly evolving. And the New Orleans Saints are still trying to hold on to remnants of success that they had from 2009 to when Drew Brees retired back in 2020. You got to let that stuff go. You got to let it go, man, and move on. I said this also. The New Orleans Saints are so like they're so fixated on not trying to be losers that they actually turn into losers, right? I'm not talking about these people as people, right? I'm not calling them losers like you suck at life. I'm talking about the mentality around the organization, the conservative approach about every single thing, rather it's offensively or defensively. Instead of playing for touchdowns, you playing for field goals. That is the type of stuff that losers are made of, right? It's about being aggressive. It's about pushing the issue. It's about believing in your guys. And I just think that the Saints are just trying to do the bare minimum. They're okay with winning by 1 point. They're okay with nail biters as long as they come out in the end. But once again, this defense has shown that they have taken a step back. And it's not because they're not good. What you have is the guys that actually started the season, they're not there because they're injured. So what do you do then? You don't have the firepower that you once had, that you started the season with when you played against the Tennessee Titans with that stellar defensive performance. So the offense has to pull their weight. And the defense shouldn't have to go out there to beat the 85 Bears, all right? You should be able to play really good, solid defense, and your offense should be able to put points on the board. And I just think that when it comes to Pete Carmichael, like just crazy, unnecessary, weird play calling. Like, why would you call for a handoff to your fullback, Adam Prentice, on the 1 yard line where you got Taysom Hill, you got Alvin Kamara, you got Kendre Miller, you got Derek Carr himself, right? You got all these guys that are capable of pushing forward, but instead you go with a fullback that barely gets any touches at all. I mean, I just don't understand it. And I just feel like this dude is in over his head. And for all the people out there that's probably checked out the press conference that they put on NewOrleansSaints.com, I'm talking Dennis Allen talking about they're going to get it fixed. They're not going to move in a different direction when it comes to the coaches. All I would have to say about that is good. I have no problem with that. I have absolutely no problem with that. Allow him, and I'm talking DA and P. Carmichael, allow them to go out there, play games their way, and, let's see where it goes. And I'm pretty sure, I probably speak for a lot of you, it's not going to go anywhere. They'll probably go out here against the New England Patriots, and you'll probably see some more offensive innovations, and they'll probably do more aggressive things, to try to put our mind at ease. But we all know that it's about consistency. Can you consistently win? It's not about just looking good week 5. It's about consistently putting forth an effort that will result in team success, winning constantly, right? And we all know that neither one of these guys are capable of doing it, because I said it on the last episode and I'm going to say it again. They're losers. It's just that simple. They got a losing mind frame. They aren't one of those guys that you look at. When you look at them, you know that you have a leader, like a Mike Tomlin. I'm pretty sure some of you probably seen Mike Tomlin's press conference. This man said he about to make some changes, right? They don't have that type of leadership. When you have what you have in Dennis Allen is a guy that just trying to keep everybody happy, right? He just trying to keep everybody happy. He just not trying to rattle the cage. He's caring about people's feelings and all these other things, when you have to really be live and direct with these guys and let them know, man, this can't be tolerated. This isn't what we have come accustomed to throughout the years. That type of mind frame that they're playing with resembles that of the Saints when I was growing up as a kid in the 90s. And we all know that there's a standard around the New Orleans Saints organization that has been established since 2006 of winning and being in the game. Now the Saints look like a mere shell of themselves. And also, I want to put this out there because I know a lot of people, when we start talking about the Saints, we don't want to come to grips with the reality of this team. The reality is they're not very good. Over the last couple of years, the Saints have been a losing franchise. Like, we don't want to put ourselves in that position because we've had so much success. But Drew Brees hasn't been a quarterback of this team for 3 seasons. Sean Payton hasn't been a head coach for 2. I mean, as we move further and further along, it like I don't want to sound like the Cowboys. I don't want to keep on using Drew Brees and Sean Payton to try to validate myself as a fan. Like, oh man, when we had Drew Brees and Sean Payton, man, we was lighting it up. We sound like Cowboy fans. Man, back in 95, man, when we had Dion and we had Michael Irv and Troy Aikman, it was like we're going to be sounding like that. All right. So what this team needs to do is try to figure it out. And I don't think they're going to be able to figure out with this regime. Like, I think you're probably going to find some levels of success. And I honestly feel like week 5, they probably go out there and play much better offensively. It's because they have to. It's because they're going to be dialed in. And all the pressure from the fan base and everybody else that covers the team, everybody wants to see this team succeed. So they probably will burn the midnight oil leading up to week 5 against the New England Patriots. But I don't see that success constantly going. I just feel like they'll probably just put it together just to probably keep everybody quiet. And then all of a sudden, they're just going to resort back to the same lackadaisical, boring, bland, can't move the football offense that they always been. The change is going to come when Pete Carmichael is no longer a part of the team. The change is going to come when Dennis Allen is no longer a part of the team. And I know what some people are saying about Dennis Allen. Oh, the defense looks good. It looks great. But you have to understand, when you put on that big boy hat, you're no longer the defensive coordinator. You're no longer the guy that's just in control of the defense. You are in control over the entire operation of the New Orleans Saints when it comes to offense, defense, and special teams. And if you're not keeping your ducks in a row, you're not keeping your coaches in line about the standard, what the New Orleans Saints are all about, then you need to go, right? You might as well just be a coordinator. I am not trying to have a coordinator masquerading as a head coach just because this dude can coach some defense. You have some great defensive coaches all around the league. You got guys with untapped potential in the college ranks. You can find somebody that'll be able to coach some defense. And honestly, like I said, I see solid defense, but I'm not seeing consistent sacks left and right. I'm not seeing guys that just, knowing where they need to be constantly. Yeah, these guys play really good defense. They play solid, but it's not to a point where I just feel like you can't find somebody else that can be able to keep up the same level of success defensively in order for the Saints to get where they need to be. So I just feel like strap in, strap in. And, whatever this season is, it is. There's no more excuses. We already established that at the beginning of the season, because there's no excuse for the Saints to be 2-2 when you have a quarterback that you wanted, that you wined and dined and did all these things with, gave him $150 million. You got Mike T, who is an all-pro. You got Chris Olave with all-pro potential. You got Rashid Shaheed, who has all-pro potential when it comes to special teams. You got a Swiss Army knife in Taysom Hill. You got Juwan Johnson, who, when preseason statistics was going around, everybody was saying, that this dude was going to be one of the best in the league. What's up, buddy? Come around. You gotta come around, buddy. But anyway, they have all these offensive weapons, so there's absolutely no excuse for that. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments, man, and we'll go ahead and go from there. As y'all can see, man, Packing Man, what's wrong, buddy? All right.
Go to the higher.
Okay. I'm gonna read some of the fine folks' comments. Okay, you gonna say who that to him? Say who that? Oh, who that? He don't even want to say who that today. I don't blame you, son. The defense is not good lately. We ain't no 2000 Ravens defense. No, they're not. But what you're asking is you're asking your defense to go out there to be the savior of the team. Like, these guys can only do so much, right? They only can do so much. I mean, and it's only human nature to feel like, okay, it's almost like you're pouring water into a boat with a hole in it, right? You know what I'm saying? You're dumping the water out, and all of a sudden, like, the water is still coming in. Like, it feels pointless. It's just human nature to feel like you're putting your best foot forward and there are no results, because that, okay, I can get a stop. We can get a 3 and out, but this offense is going to go ahead and get a 3 and out themselves, right? So at the end of the day, it's just human nature, like, to feel that way. I honestly feel like the defense in some ways have taken a step back because they don't believe in this offense. And my question is, who can blame them? Like, who can actually blame these guys for feeling the way that they do? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense, man. Let's see. What up, nephew? Hey, man, you say hello to him. You gonna wave? All right. It says Dennis Allen, the future Broncos defensive coordinator. Hey, that might be the answer. That might be the answer right there. It says, hey, TJ, I'm calling in. This is Izzy. When you open up the phone lines, I want a few moments of your time. Yeah, I mean, we're about to go ahead and open up the phone lines already. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the press conference with Dennis Allen. I was going to put it up, you know, so people can hear. But of course, man, I'm having such a great day. I don't need that type of negativity in my life. I had enough negativity over the last 24 hours for absolutely like for insane reasons. So I think that we all pretty good right here. And I ain't trying to have everybody blood pressure getting up. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been having a really good day themselves. So no need for this guy to come in and try to ruin anybody's day. But let me go ahead. I'm gonna open up the phone lines. Y'all heard enough from me, man. Between yesterday and the opening dialogue, pretty sure everybody kind of chomping at the bit to try to hear what I want to hear what you have to say. I should say. I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. I want to give a special shout out to the guy with the greatest name of all time, Tim. Says can't believe it is the coaching that are holding us back. A championship team. How bad does it have to get for the coaches to take his head out of his butt? Honestly, Tim, I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm serious. Like, I do not care. Like, let's just roll with it, man. I feel like going to Vegas, putting it all on black. Like, let it ride. Let it ride. You know, like let it implode. Like, seriously, let it implode. Like, he don't want to move on. Fine, that's cool. But I mean, just like if you ever see the Avengers, right? You know, when Thanos says, I am inevitable. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, what did he do? You know what I'm saying? Snapping it all, everything just faded off, right? That's basically what it is. Let them be inevitable. You know what I'm saying? This is inevitable. I'm telling you, like, this is not an easy fix. Like the way that they approach games to me, it's like they'll go out there, they'll play like champions one week, right? And they'll start patting themselves on the chest and feeling good about themselves and all that kind of stuff there. And, you know, people be all excited and they let that stuff go to their head. And then I don't know if they just take steps back during the week, doing preparation for the next game. Then they lay an egg. They get, you know, people start complaining about the offensive line, the running game, what have you. Then they'll spend a little bit of time trying to fix those issues. And you'll probably see a little bit of an improvement. But then they'll resort back to what the way that they were. All right, so it's inevitable, man. I'm telling you, it is inevitable. This is a disaster, and it's not an easy fix, especially when you have guys that aren't leaders and, quite frankly, are losers. The problem goes all the way up to the brain trust around in Gale. We've gone from a winning mindset to chasing past glory. Loomis, a voodoo doctor, trying to keep a zombie being real alive. I like that right there, Carl. That's a good analogy right there, a good metaphor. But yeah, I agree with you, man. You can't hold on to yesteryear. You know, like if I'm holding on to what I used to be, man, I mean, what would I be today? Right? I mean, it's about evolving. It's about growing up. It's about being better. It's about putting the best foot forward. And honestly, it's about getting with the times too. And you know, I mean, the Saints look like they playing football in 1962 or something like that. Like Bart Starr out there, Johnny U or something. You know, like she was slinging Sammy Ba. Like, man, what are we doing? Like, step into the 21st century. And Demetrius says, just want to bless your channel. I seen your grind. Demetrius, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. But let's go ahead. We're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to start with Josh. Josh, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, TJ? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing fine, man. Thanks for calling in. What you got for us today?
Hey, before I get to that, can I ask you and your audience for some prayers about something?
No, what's that, man?
Okay, so I've been petitioning the Wisconsin governor to give me a pardon for a past gang-related felony that I committed in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things have come through for me to the point where it's looking pretty darn good that I'll get this pardon and get this felony off my record. So I just say, guys, keep me in your prayers in that particular regard, if you would. I'll probably find out in a month or two, but I got some decent news today in that regard. And They seem to be wanting to help me at the governor's office. So, just keep me in your thoughts in that regard. That's what I would ask.
Oh man, absolutely, man. I'm glad that thing's starting to, work in your favor, but we'll continue to keep you in prayer, man. I mean, I don't think anybody should be held accountable for, a mistake, for the rest of their lives, especially when they're, moving on and they're growing and they're evolving from it. So, man, good luck to you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't spoken with active gang members in 20 years, so
Yeah.
Okay, so where was I going to go with this? Okay, so TJ, this isn't going to get better; it's going to get worse. You know how I know it's going to get worse?
How's that?
What Dennis Allen said 3 hours ago about him he's not going to make any coaching changes.
No, well, I mean, like I said, Josh, at this particular point, who cares? Like seriously, like we all know it's inevitable. Like I just mentioned, like allow these guys, give these guys enough rope to do what what they need to do with. So I mean, at this particular point, nobody's expecting anything. Like at first, like it's amazing though. I will say this, Josh, and I'll let you continue, man.
Yeah,
it's amazing to me how these people just got everybody so motivated and psyched up and hyped up about what this team can actually be, man. And for them to just basically like, it's almost like plug and play. Like, yeah, you got these new pieces, but it's still the same thing. And honestly, in some cases, it's gotten even worse. So I don't know.
Well, yesterday go ahead. I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yesterday, I was in my emotions and I said fire Carmichael and Joel Thomas both. But then I thought about it, and I thought, what if Pete is just holding Joel back, right?
Right.
So I wouldn't be opposed to getting rid of Pete and giving Joel a chance. He can't do any worse. I mean, if we can't get John Gruden in here, Joel Thomas can't do any worse. He, right. You know what I'm saying? It's impossible to be worse than Pete Carmichael at this point.
Right.
But there's a couple things I noticed that I wanted to bring up, TJ. This is why it's kind of like doom and gloom for me.
Right.
And these two things.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that when you bring up Pete, when the media brings up Pete to Dennis Allen in his post-game interviews and everything,
yeah,
I've kind of noticed something comes over his spirit. I don't think Dennis really wants Pete here. I think that's more of a Mickey Loomis call, and I think he's stuck with Pete and he knows it. Because he doesn't really seem to show a lot of enthusiasm about Pete. And like, have you noticed what I've noticed in that regard? I mean, he won't say nothing, but that's just how I feel about it.
You know what, Josh? I don't know if it was you or someone else on X earlier today. They said the same exact thing. And I said this. I said, if that's the case, then the Saints are in bigger peril than I thought. Because if you as a head coach, your job is to appoint these coaches, right? To be able to keep the ones that you want, that you feel like kind of speaks your language and kind of, y'all on the same wavelength. I mean, if that's not the case, like if you're allowing Mickey Loomis to pick out your coaches and stuff like that, then the Saints are in bigger trouble than I thought, because that just shows you right there, like you don't have any type of cachet when it comes to the team. Like you basically, what you seem like you are, it was as a placeholder. And if you are not deciding who your coaches is, and you don't have if you don't have full autonomy over, like over who comes in, who comes out, who goes out, who you can fight, who you can't fight. Like if you can't do that, then you basically just a worker ant. You know what I'm saying? Like we got a Jerry Jones type situation going on, with Jerry Jones as the figurehead, he calling all the shots, and you got basically the puppet, which is the head coach. So if that's the case, then I definitely going.
Well, I got two more quick points to make. One is piggybacking off of what you just said. Mm-hmm. Holy crap! I just lost my train of thought.
All right. Well, in the meantime, until you.
Okay. I remember one thing. I just don't remember the thing I was going to say right now.
Okay.
I noticed something about Derek Carr in his post-game interview, man, and I know this is projection, but I don't think it's really projection. Did you notice Derek Carr's whole face and body energy?
Nah, honestly, to be quite honest with you, I didn't even see the press conference. Like I was so upset and frustrated at what I saw. I didn't want no part of of this team after I ended this podcast on yesterday. Like seriously.
Oh, hey,
like,
now I remember what I was going to say about Pete. You know who I blame for Pete not being a good caller, believe it or not?
What's that?
Sean Payton. Because Sean was so darn hands-on and called all the plays for all those years that Pete never had a chance to develop his own way of being a coordinator. Pete essentially has not been a coordinator for 15 years.
Yeah.
So he's just unqualified for the job.
Yeah. I just feel like when people, they'll bring up what Drew Brees said about Pete Carmichael, talking about he one of the smartest guys, that he ever seen when it comes to understanding football. I don't think that's not true. I really do. Like some people are like really good at certain things, right? Let's just say that they're probably really good thinkers, but when it comes to like putting their stuff on paper, it's kind of hard for them to do. I think he's like one of those guys. Like I think that if he was around the offensive coaching staff to help with the install, but wasn't actually the guy, I think that he would do a really good job. I just
pick out one aspect of the offense to work on, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like or even help with the install. But I just think what he suffers with is the ebbs and flows of the game. And also I just think that it's almost like he becomes overwhelmed, like a person in the kitchen with a bunch of ingredients, and you're trying to make this by reading a cookbook or something like that. You're trying to make this work. It's not working.
And he probably knows his limitations, which is why he did not want to be coordinator in the first place.
Right.
And they had to basically beg him to stay on as coordinator. So he's got a job that he doesn't want. People always overlook that, but that's a big part of this deal.
Yeah.
But I want to make my Derek Carr point, because I think this could get really bad given what I'm reading off of Derek Carr's face.
Okay.
What are you reading? I'm reading that Derek Carr is quickly losing respect for Pete Carmichael. He's not there yet, but I believe he is getting there. I'm also reading that Derek Carr is starting to be terrified that, oh my God, this is starting to be another Las Vegas Raiders situation with these bad coordinators and stuff.
Right.
And you know what? He's not wrong. So look at Derek Carr's face during that interview. Something's missing that was there before, some kind of spark or whatever. And I know I'm projecting a little bit, man, but he hasn't lost respect for Pete yet. He will within the next couple of games. And then you're going to have quarterback versus coordinator. It's going to get even worse than it was. We might average minus points per game. I don't know.
Well, I will say this. In order for you to really be checking the offensive coordinator, you got to play better. I'm just being honest. Like a lot of if you go back and watch like some of the film from that game, like he had a lot of opportunities to make plays and he didn't. Like I don't want to. I understand that people.
It wasn't a great game from him.
Nah, he looked like he looked horrible. And the thing about it is, look, you have a backup quarterback that is more than capable of going in a game and keeping the team afloat in Jameis Winston. You decided to go out there with a bum shoulder because you told everybody that you were well enough to play. So I gotta evaluate you accordingly. You could have easily sat down and waited another week and came back versus New England, but you didn't. So if you're gonna if that's the case, Josh, then he has to play better. You can't be telling people how to clean up their house when your house all messy and stuff like that, and they got dust all over the floor. Like you got to get yourself straight first before you start talking about other people or criticizing others. Because at the end of the day,
so, TJ, but when you lose respect for a coach, you just lose that respect, and it seems like Carr is getting there. That's the vibe.
Well, here's the reality too, Josh. You got people that look at Derek Carr, who got paid $150 million. Saints fans are losing respect for him. You can lose respect for the offensive coordinator, but the way you playing, people losing respect for you at the same time. So
before this game, Derek Carr was passing at 65% completion percentage, and some of the throws that he didn't complete on were just basically drops. So he was playing pretty decently. He didn't have a lot of touchdowns, obviously, but he was playing pretty decently before this game.
He still left. Honestly, Josh, he still left a lot.
Yeah, he left stuff on the table. I'm not telling you he's been Patrick Mahomes out there, but I'm just saying watch out for the whole dynamic between Derek Carr and Pete Carmichael, because if Derek Carr is losing respect for Pete the way I think he is, things will get a whole lot worse than they even are now.
Well, I mean, we'll definitely be on the lookout for that, man. But Josh, thank you so much, man. Got a few more calls I need to get to, but I really do appreciate your time. And like always, call back anytime, man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to Derek Carr, when somebody pay you that type of money and the type of narrative that they build up around you, as far as like you being, what the Saints need and all that kind of stuff there. And then like you just go out there and basically look like any other quarterback that the Saints had last year. That's just not it. So you may leave, he may lose respect for Pete Carmichael. I mean, I don't know if that's the case or not, but at the same time, the Who Dat Nation is losing respect for him. Especially like I can understand like you came out the door like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns or something like that, what have you, and then all of a sudden, like maybe you get hurt or something like that, you take a step back. People can kind of understand like, he was playing pretty well, he got hurt. But Derek Carr, like for the most part, has never played like a top 10, not even a top 15 quarterback this season. Like I have not seen a top 15 performance. Like, I mean, honestly, top, like being in the bottom 20s, you know what I'm saying? It has been a little bit of a stretch. Like, yeah, he made a clutch throw here or there, but that's not what you're here for. What you're here for is because you're a veteran that has seen it all, done it all for the most part. You understand the game, what the defense is trying to do, and you're supposed to make it easier for these offensive linemen and all that kind of and the players that are around you, but you're not doing that. So there you go. Let me go to Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
What's up, TJ? How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Thank you for chiming in. What you got for us today?
You know what, TJ? I'm glad you did not play that press conference from earlier, because when I looked at it, I part of me just want to go to that TV screen and choke Dennis Allen right now.
I think everybody kind of feel like that, man.
I want to choke him, TJ. I want to choke him. I just want to put him through a table, or either I would get a 2x4 and knock him upside his head.
Man,
know Who Dat Nation. That is not violence. That's common sense.
There's nothing about Dennis Allen that resembles a leader, in my opinion. Like, I'm pretty sure he's a nice guy. I mean, never really met him. I mean, I seen him at the combine or something like that, walk past me. I ain't never really met him like that, but he seems like a nice guy for the most part, but at the end of the day, like, he's not a leader. Like, he's not a leader of men. So like in a head coaching way. Do I think he can be a leader on defense as a coordinator? Yes, because he's shown us that. But the dude as a head coach, he's a loser. Like, seriously, there's no energy, no swag, no drip, no nothing. Like, there's no swag, no drip, no nothing. Like, dude is just not it as a head coach. And,
no, he's not, TJ.
Yeah,
no, he is not.
I mean, he looked like he lost his best friend. Like, honestly, in the midst of a loss like that, you still want your coach to have some level of confidence, like, we can weather the storm. This dude looked like he just lost his pet goat or something like that. Like, he looked down, boo-boo in the face. Like, man, what kind of energy is that? Like, as a head coach, these guys are supposed to look at you for inspiration. And I don't get anything from the dude. Like, honestly, man, the dude, to me, has the charisma of a Ziploc bag. You're serious. He has no charisma, no swag, no drip, no nothing. I mean, that's just a reality, Jerry.
TJ, I get your point, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to come on Sunday. I know you were getting ready to wrap up, but I was late coming in because TJ, after the game was over, I just went downtown. Sunday they started this Cruising the Coast event that started Sunday, and it ends on next Sunday. I just want to go down there and look at some classic cards and take my mind off of that embarrassing game that I just saw on Sunday, because it was a total, complete embarrassment and disaster at the same time, bro.
Oh yeah, it was.
And you're gonna put up 9 points in the game, and Tampa Bay, much as we don't like them, they came and beat us.
They got our number as of late, bro.
They beat us 26-9, and that's bad.
Yep. I mean, embarrassing.
And y'all know why this offense is not clicking like it should be. is this man right here, Pete Carmichael.
Yep.
He needs to be replaced. That man needs to be replaced. And I just heard Dennis say he's not going to make any chosen changes. Part of me tells me I just want to just put that man through a table right now for that.
Man,
because if we go in the Foxborough Sunday and play the Patriots, you're looking at 2-3. You're looking at 2-3. I'm calling it for what it is, TJ.
You know what, Jerry? You don't want to know the real reason why he's keeping him around. I don't feel like he keeping him around because he think that it's the right thing to do. I think he keeping this dude around because he wants to use him as a scapegoat. So towards the end of the season, if the Saints aren't looking good, well, we would have been good, if we had a better coordinator to make him be able to I guess to make him survive Black Monday, but nobody's buying it. Like, seriously, nobody's buying that anymore. We already established that. This was your choice. If you are the man, the coach that you are supposed to be, this was your decision. So regardless to what Mickey Loomis has to say, if you felt like you needed to go in a different direction with an offensive coordinator, you should have said that. You should have had the huevos, the cojones to actually do that, but you didn't. So I can't give you a pass because of that. I don't care what it is. And honestly, if you're operating like that, Jerry, like, I definitely don't want you as a coach because, like I said, you are just a worker ant. You're not a lieutenant. You know what I'm saying? Like how Matt Moscona say, a lieutenant. You're not even a lieutenant. You know what I'm saying? Like you definitely ain't no general. So
hell no.
Why would you want him as a head coach? Because your defense might look like something? No. I mean, you still, no matter who the coordinator is, it's all going to come down, Jerry, to situational football. It's always going to come down to that because these teams are way too good in the National Football League for you not to be in nip and tuck games. I don't care how good your defense is or how good your offense is. There's going to come a time where you're going to have to make crucial decisions that may determine the outcome of the game for your team. We seen in the Tampa Bay game, they couldn't keep a lead. We seen as recently as this year against Green Bay, they can't keep a lead. And now you have that stinker of a performance on Sunday. I mean, what more do you need to see? Why are we trying to make this dude work? I don't understand
it. And TJ, we all saw what New England went through against Dallas because they only scored 3 points and Dallas scored 38. That's kind of like that's literally going to be the Saints right there. If they don't get their stuff together, bro. Because Saints Uptown and CB had this discussion Sunday on the WDN chat line. Shouts out to CB and Saints Uptown. We had this conversation about this on Sunday. I say, bro, this team is not going to get any better with this offensive unit that we got. It's not going to get any better.
Right.
None.
Yeah. And honestly, at this particular point, I'm okay with that. Like, I hate to sound like that, but I'm okay with it because I really feel like they can shock the heck out of me. And, I'll be fine to eat crow, but at this particular point, like I say, let them do their thing because I just know it's inevitable. Neither one of these guys are capable of sustaining success because they're losers. It's plain and simple. I'm going to continue to say that. They're losers. Like, it's plain and simple, man. I don't like. I was willing to give Dennis Allen a chance because of the organization that he came from when he coached with the Raiders. But honestly, man, like, what more can you say? Like, what more can you say when it comes down to his decision making, his demeanor, his willingness to be able to like not fix issues until somebody like really mad at him. And like I said, there's no consistency. Like I expect, like Jerry, I expect for them to go to New England and look better offensively week 5. Like, seriously, I expect for them to do it. It's because everybody is putting their foot to the fire. But what happens when nobody is putting your foot to the fire? Can you be able to sustain the level of success that you're actually burning a midnight oil for week 5? Will you be able to do that week 6 and so on? Absolutely not. Because once again, because they're losers. Plain and simple.
You're right, TJ. But I'll tell you this, and I'm gonna get ready to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that New Orleans is 2-2 and not 0-4.
Right.
That's the only positive thing I can give you because if we was no wins and 4 losses like the Carolina Panthers, we in trouble.
Yeah.
Big time.
I mean, but the thing about it is, you still have a full season ahead. I mean, your
13
schedule is
games to
not.
go.
Yeah, your schedule is not like that. You know, it's not murderous row or anything like that. You can get back on a winning track, but man, look at the quarterbacks they done played over the last couple of weeks. Let's look at them quarterbacks, man. Nobody knocking anybody's socks off. Tannehill, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, like. I mean, Baker Mayfield,
Baker
like,
Mayfield,
come on, man.
And
like,
next up, Mac Jones.
Yeah, I'm like, look at like, I'm not gonna call these guys, because a lot of these guys are trying to establish themselves in the league. I'm not gonna call them scrubs, but a lot of these guys leave a lot to be desired because they're so fresh and brand new, and they trying to understand the speed of the game and the concepts offensively and the playbook. So you have an opportunity based on this defense that's been around each other for at least, 2 seasons. You have a chance to really put some pressure on these quarterbacks and make these boys' head hurt consistently throughout the game. But they can't even do that. Every quarterback that they play, making them look like they're the second coming of Patrick Mahomes or the second coming of Tom Brady. Like, I thought Baker Mayfield was Tom Brady for a minute. Like, seriously, like, that's how they got these boys looking out here, man. But you got to find some levels of success, man. You got to get it done, and it has to be consistent. And honestly, Jerry, I don't feel like they'll be able to do it. You got anything else, man?
No, TJ, that's all I got, man. Just thank you for having me on here. Shouts out to the chat. Much love to y'all.
Yeah,
just pray, who that nation.
Hey, just sit back, man. Enjoy the ride. But at the same time, man, look, I still say who that. You know what I'm saying? We still gonna support the team, even though
we will.
Whoo, boy, it's gonna be it get a little rough,
like
boy. All right. You gotta go to the altar on Sunday, knee bowed and head bent. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, my goodness. You gotta say that prayer. I come to your Lord, knee bowed and head bent. Asking you to help my team. Yeah, but Jerry, thank you so much.
Help your team expeditiously.
Man, it's always a good time, man. Every time I talk to you, man. Thank you so much for brightening up the podcast, man, with your positive energy, man. Thank you so much.
Much love to you, brother. You take care. Y'all be blessed.
You too, man. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Jerry, man. Always coming through with the real and always leave us on some positive stuff, man. So appreciate that. Read a few comments and then we'll get the mic. I want to acknowledge the people that donated to the show. Like I said, man, these people spend their hard-earned money, man. I got to give them their props on this. Docs, thank you very much for the 199. Says it should have been Eric B. Enemy here, but nope. Yep. I mean, just think about that. You know, you had opportunity to get Eric B. Enemy. Cliff Kingsbury, you probably could have, canoed your way through Thailand and went go get him just like D'Amico Ryans did. But instead, you decided to keep on keeping on with P, no offensive call himself, Carmichael. Like, that's what you did. That's what you decided to do. But like I said, decisions like that just makes me just scratch my head. Tim, thank you very much for the $10. He says, I almost punched my screen. DA said nothing good comes from leadership change mid-season. Tomlin, the same day, says he's making changes. Can you remind me which coach has won a Super Bowl? It's mind-blowing. Look, all I know is Mike Tomlin is a leader of men. If I was in the NFL, I definitely would want to play for Mike Tomlin. Everything about this guy just exudes leadership. If Dennis Allen don't make it, as a head coach, definitely would be a guy that if Pittsburgh decided to go in a different direction, I want to have as my head coach. I can tell you that right now. But that's the difference between true leadership and a guy that's just a spot filler. And right now, that's what Dennis Allen is looking like, a straight up 100% spot filler. Let's see. Tim also says NGL Derek needs to check his pride there. Was an incomplete play he made down the field just because he was tired of checking it down. Yeah, man, that boy definitely would check down Charlie yesterday. I mean, 37 passes that you threw in a game for 127 yards. I ain't never seen a stat line like that. Normally, if you put the ball in the air 37 times, you're going to at least come away with at least 220, 250 or something like that, even 300. This man had 127 yards and a 3-yard average. Like, man, that is check down personified. And Joseph, thank you very much for the 199 as well. All right. let's go ahead and go to Mike. Mike, how you doing, man?
You see what I got in my head right now?
Yeah, I can see you, man. I can see you, man. You about to call the plays?
Saints, give me a call because I can call better plays than what Pete Carmichael did right now. Or like ever since 2021, this man has been bona fide scrub.
Yeah, scrub.
Like I can take this headset, plug it into some, and call the plays for y'all if y'all need me. Because I can't do no worse. You can't do no worse. The blind man across the street can't do no worse. So why? You see, people want to blame Derek Carr for yesterday, and he didn't have the perfect game. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm probably the biggest Derek Carr fan out of all of us here. But a bad coach can make a player look bad because yes, you can audible out of it, right. but when you are set up for a formation,
yeah,
right? There's nothing you can do about that. Like you can switch the play and everything, but it's still gonna be the same formation. And Pete Carmichael, he needs to go. Dennis Allen needs to go. And here's why. A bad coach can make a good player look trash. All right? Because you see, for example, the Chiefs, they have no more Eric Bieniemy. Instead, they have Matt Nagy, and Patrick Mahomes is now looking the same. Right? So you can say how, Derek Carr should have done better. Derek Carr should have done his thing. And my response to that is, y'all obviously did not watch the game because like it was 3rd and 5, and Pete Carmichael, not Derek Carr, Pete Carmichael called street control on the same play. And I'm like, what are you supposed to do about that? Like, obviously, he took the deep shot because that's what it was designed for. Because, like, if you don't follow the coach's rules, you're probably getting benched. And people are like, Derek Carr should have sat out, and I agree. But even if Derek Carr said that he was good enough to play, that's Dennis Allen's decision. That's Carmichael's decision. That's Loomis's decision to sit him or start him. And they took his word, and they're the one that put him out there. They could have pulled him from the game. They could have been like, all right, we'll let you rest, and then next time you can go out there. But this is the problem. This was the same thing last year where somebody said that they were good enough to play and they were not good enough to play. Just because they want to play does not mean that they're good enough to play. And Dennis Allen, who's a fake leader, does not know that. Because people are like, oh, Derek Carr, man, you should have sat out. Why would you say that? And I'm like, are y'all stupid? Because there's no way y'all actually think that. And yes, it is one thing if, Derek Carr had control. Like, if this was a Drew Brees, he most likely would play because he basically controlled this team. But Derek Carr, even though I like him, and I think he's definitely the best quarterback who's put on the St. uniform since Brees, but y'all have to chill out. Because y'all are acting like Derek Carr be putting up Jamarcus Russell numbers. Like Derek Carr, he was winning us. He was winning us games, and y'all were like, "Man, Jameis, man, we should put in Jameis." And I'm like, we gave Jameis a 17-point lead, and he blew it. And it's not all his fault because once again, Carmichael, not knowing what a play is, South decided to just not let Jameis be Jameis. So y'all cannot be serious and say that Jameis can't do no worse than Carr. And Carr was giving us leads, ending games. And first of all, $150 million is nothing to a quarterback now. You got Lamar making 200, 250. You got Mahomes making 400. You got Kyler Murray making a bank. So $150 million for a quarterback now is nothing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I want people to understand too. I mean, when you see 150 million, I guess it is a lot of money, but in the realms of quarterback salaries, like that's kind of bottom of the barrel. I mean, I think it's on brand, to be quite honest with you, with the way that he's been playing. Like it's middle of the road, middle of the pack salary. And I think that, it's worth it at this particular point. But the question is, like, how many times are you going to blame the offensive coordinator, blame the head coach, it comes a time where you just have to put up or shut up. I don't just feel this way about Derek Carr. I feel the same way about Jameis Winston too. Like it's only so much defending you can actually do. When you have the opportunity to go out there and ball out, you got to ball out. Like you got to make people believe. And right now, I like both of these guys, but I just think the Saints need to move on from both of them. Like, to be quite honest with you, like I'd rather the New Orleans Saints draft a young quarterback. This is a deep draft in 2024. You got Drake May coming out. You got Michael Penix coming out. You got Caleb Williams coming out. You got Jordan Travis. I mean, the list goes on and on. So you're going to end up finding yourself with a really good quarterback if you draft this year. And then not to mention, like if Shadur Sanders decides to come out, then, you know what I'm saying, that's another quarterback. So at the end of the day, I'm like, why are you sitting up here wasting your time with some guys that honestly the fans do more work at padding their stats and big up in themselves than the actual play themselves? Like the Saints fans be going so hard for these quarterbacks only for them to go in the game and play lackluster. Like you got to prove people right, because right now you're proving the naysayers right by lackluster, lackadaisical, very vanilla type quarterback play, and that goes from both of them. You got to be able to step up. You got to handle your business, man. Like I said, we can talk you in the room, man, but you gotta fight. You ever seen like boxing match, right? You know, before the boxing match, they always hyping it up. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go in the ring. I'm gonna knock you out in the 9th round. You know, like, but when you get in that ring, you gotta fight. Like we can talk about how big and bad you are, you know, at the press conferences, but when you get in that ring, you gotta fight. And neither one of these guys, to me, were, you know what I'm saying, really been showing the hype. I like these guys, but to be quite honest with you, neither one of these guys I feel like I can hang my hat on as far as being the future of the franchise.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I feel like there's actually, this is debatable, but part of me feels that Dennis Allen might be a little bit of an overrated defensive coach and coordinator. And hear me out, right?
Okay.
Because people are always like, man, the defense is always great, man, with Dennis Allen. And I actually think that's the opposite, because, yes, the defense is great every year, but there's always these few games that always cost us because of the defense. Because, for example, I remember like a couple years ago, if we beat the Eagles, we essentially are in the playoffs because that's 10 wins, and, you know, the 49ers had a chance to. But the defense, you know, Dennis Allen was not putting in the right formations, and we ended up losing by. We ended up almost allowing 50. And when he started being that same year against the Giants, we gave Dennis Allen an 11-point lead, and all he had to do was communicate with his guys. He did not do that enough because we ended up choking that. Last year against Tampa, he did not communicate with his guys, and then we lost. And then obviously last week and this week. So I feel like, is Dennis Allen a good defensive coach? Yes. Is he overrated at times? Yes, because they're acting like the man can't do no wrong at defense. And I'm like, so you have not been watching what I've been watching, because that defense, it's good, but it's not good at when it needs to be good, you know? And you can say all this, but the players got to execute. And I'm like, well, if the players execute, in order for them to execute is if Dennis Allen, the man, the myth, the legend, puts them in how do you say the word? Puts them in opportunities to
put them in position,
Yeah, so I feel like Dennis Allen is an overrated defensive coach too. So don't get me twisted. He is good. He's sometimes good when it comes to defense, but that man ain't no freaking Bill Belichick when it comes to defense, bro.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree with it. You know, like I feel like there are times where, you know, the Saints have certain matchups, especially against mobile quarterbacks, you know, that give them fits. But, you know, for the most part, man, the dude knows defense. And, you know, based on like what he has done in his track record, I think you got to give him the benefit of the doubt with that. But Mike, I got to go ahead and take a few more phone calls. But thank you so much for chiming in, man.
All right, I'm about to leave anyway, so bye.
All right, take it easy, man. Yeah, shouts out to Mike, man. I mean, look, he got a point, man. You know, I think that Dennis Allen can coach some defense. I really honestly believe that. But at the end of the day, that just can't be the reason why you just keep him around, because you just think, oh man, our defense playing like no, man. Like that's not if the Saints only had Dennis Allen and they hired him just to coach defense, then we cool. But that's not your job anymore. Your job is not just to coach defense. It's about understanding and overseeing the entire operation. And right now, it seems like he's in over his head. I mean, I think we have a large enough sample size to believe and see what Dennis Allen actually is. A really good defensive coordinator, but not a very good head coach. I mean, you are who you are, man. I mean, it's just that simple. You are who you are. You can't put a square peg into a round hole, and you can't make a guy who isn't a coach. You can't make him one. I mean, you can try to. You can put him up there. You can prop him up. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's going to leave a lot to be desired. And I just don't like the direction the New Orleans Saints are going in. I don't like this quit, fetal position, live to fight for another day type mentality that they have. I think that is loser mentality. Like, I want people to understand this. This is loser mentality. You know, you shouldn't do this in any aspect of your life, right? You should. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's something that you never tackled a day in your life. If you know what I'm saying, you attack it with everything that you have. You don't have a defeated attitude. You have a positive attitude. And most of the time, that's basically what you need, because it's about synergy. It's about energy. People want to have something that they can actually believe in. And if people aren't buying into you, then it's just a waste of time. And looking at this guy, I mean, I don't get any type of confidence when I look at Dennis Allen. I'm sorry, man. Like, I do not. Like, as a coordinator, like, he does a really good job. But it just looks so fake and so phony. Like, people was like, oh, you know, he's showing aggression on the sidelines. He dapping guys up. But you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, like, all that stuff to me just looks phony than a $3 bill. We're gonna go to Ray. Ray, how you doing?
Doing good, bro.
What you got for us, man?
Listen, I feel like everything about the Saints, bro, I don't like, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take comparison from this year and last year. All right. So this year, I have problems with the offense.
Right.
But when you compare that shit to last year, damn, bro, last year was a whole different story. I saw the Seahawks game, man, 39 points.
Right.
We didn't even get close to that this year, man. We didn't even get close to that.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. I mean, when you think about it, you know, I seen a crazy stat, Ray. They said that the New Orleans Saints last season only scored over 25 points or higher twice, right? They scored 30 points, I want to say, twice. One was in a loss against Arizona, and another one was a win against Seattle, the game that you alluded to.
Yeah.
But 25 points twice last season. Like, think about that, bro. Think about that. Like, in today's NFL, where the rules are catered to the offense, like, you throw the ball down the field, they trying to find ways to call pass interference on the defense just to just to put more points on the board. And you can't muster up over 20 points a game. This team right now is averaging 15 points a game over 4 games. Do you understand? Like, they only scored 4 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey scored 4 touchdowns in one game. Raheem Mostert last week, when they beat the brakes off Denver, scored 4 touchdowns. Those two guys scored more touchdowns in one game than the Saints did the entire season.
Yeah,
that's what we at right now. That's sad.
Yeah, look, hear this out too. Like, literally every single time, right? Every single time I see these scores from last year, man, coming into this year,
right?
I am just squandering. And there's one game I feel like they were lucky, man. I don't know what you're gonna say about this. The Eagles game, man. When we was this was the fourth quarter, right?
Right.
This is how you finish a game. Let's hear this out. You start rushing.
Right.
You start rushing with Taysom Hill, right? You rush for 10 yards, right? And then you keep on rushing. You rushing all the way to the 20-yard line of the Eagles. And we ain't done none of that this year.
Right.
And this is the Eagles too.
Lack of innovation. Lack of innovation.
Yeah.
Lack of offensive innovation has been the issue for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, to be honest with you. I mean, and honestly, like I said, I week 5, I feel like they're gonna do everything that they can to burn a midnight oil to look like something, to put our mind at ease. But I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe no more. Like, these guys are who they are. Like, they might look stellar and look like they fixed all their problems one week, but they're gonna just resort right back to the same losers that they always been for the last 2 seasons. I mean, it just is what it is, and I'm gonna continue to say that. I know I sound like a I sound like a broken record, but it's the reality. Like, I have no hope in neither one of these guys, and honestly, I want them to just do what they got to do, get it over with, so we all can go on with our lives when fans stop coming to the game, and Gail Benson and Lauscher, Dennis Lauscher, and all these other guys, realize that people ain't about to be taking this stuff no more. Ain't nobody about to be sitting up here paying for parking with a possibility that a car getting broke into, and then also paying for these crazy ticket prices. I don't care what type of renovations y'all got. Ain't nobody coming up in there and watching this BS. I mean, it just ain't happening,
way, bro. No
seriously,
way,
man.
Bro.
Like, so once that happens, they ain't gonna have no choice but to fall in line and fire these clowns.
I actually stopped watching the Tampa game at like the first quarter. I said, why not I just go in and start gaming? I said, what the hell with this game? I'm just gonna go game, bro. Like, I just quit on them, man.
Hey, man, I mean, look, a lot of people probably did the same thing. I mean, it was at that point, my wife took our son Paxton to the movies for the first time, man, and she watched Paw Patrol. I should have went with him. But Ray, man, thank you so much for the call, man. I really do appreciate your time, man. Call back anytime, bro.
All right, bro.
Yeah, man. Before I get to Sanchez, yeah, man, look, I mean, a lot of people probably felt they could have been doing something else with their time. I mean, cutting the grass, man. I mean, it's such a beautiful fall days around here, and I'm pretty sure it's probably nice where you at too. Probably could have been outside, probably went for a walk, went fishing. Like, ain't nobody about to be wasting their time watching those Dennis Allen-led Saints wet the bed with all of that talent. Like, just wasting time, man. Like, wasting all of these dudes' valuable years and contracts, and pathetic. Absolutely pathetic, man. Absolutely downright pathetic, man. Or the New Orleans Saints in 2023. I mean, bro, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they finagled us again. I don't know how they finessed us and did this, like, to make us just believe like they was gonna do something, man. Woo, boy. I mean, it's amazing how they did this, but never again. Never again. Sanchez, how you doing? Sanchez.
I'm doing good, TJ. What's going on, man?
Man, nothing much, Sanchez, man. Appreciate you chiming in. What you got for us, man? What do you think about your New Orleans Saints 2023 after 4 games?
Oh, man. Okay. I don't want to go on the rant. Let's call it a quiet storm, because I still want to have a dialogue.
Go get a Marcus Coaster going. Okay.
Yeah, man. Marcus Coaster. Yeah, man. So check this out. It's funny that y'all got into you could be doing something better with your time, already 4 weeks into the season, because yesterday I was actually out with my lady, and you had those moments where when you a diehard fan and those NFL Sundays are back, you know what I'm saying? Right. You trying to press like, yeah, baby, I understand we got to make this store run, but can we please just be back before that 12 o'clock kickoff?
Right.
Man, I'm telling you, we was out and about, had to get some groceries, stuff like that.
Right.
It didn't matter that I wasn't in front of the TV, TJ, because I already knew 4 weeks in, I know what's on my TV. I know what I'm finna be forced to watch. First and foremost, Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen. I peeped out a couple minutes of the press conference today, and when I say a couple minutes, it literally took a couple minutes, because once again, I knew what I was gonna get once he got to the podium. The opening statements will always be, we got to get the film, we got to see what areas we need to work on and improve on, and we got to execute better. Right. How many times since Dennis Allen had took over this team last year have we heard those same opening statements.
Man,
and you know
look,
what you got for me, TJ?
Man, look, check this out, man. Look, Dennis Allen is basically just kind of coasting, and honestly, you got the organization that's trying to protect him at all costs. You know what I'm saying? Like making sure, like, the ducks in a row, only keeping like certain people within the organization, not having outside media individuals to come in and ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Kind of keep it nip and tuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what you're going to get from all of these beat writers for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody going to rattle the cage or nothing like that because everybody concerned about their position. I'm not trying to knock anybody. Like, I understand about the whole reporter media thing and all that kind of stuff, but that ish ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I got to sit up here and like sugarcoat ish and alienate the fan base and all that kind of stuff, I ain't about that, man. I just knew what time it was. You know what I'm saying? I knew what time it was before. And this is how they operate, man. And they're gonna try to protect this dude, but there's only so much protection you can do. You know what I'm saying? It's only a matter of time before people realize that the dude is a loser. So you can't stop that.
And I only hope that it come sooner than later. By sooner, I'm hoping after this year. And my last point about Dennis Allen specifically is, you know what game I'm looking forward to most, TJ?
What's that?
It's the Detroit Lions game.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I have a coworker. He's a big Detroit Lions fan, born and raised in Detroit. And I told him the only thing I want to see in this game coming up against Detroit is just a side-by-side shot of Dennis Allen and Dan the Man Campbell. And I can point to you and say, that's the difference right there. That's the difference. Because when I see Dan the Man Campbell, we talking the biting kneecaps and the sound bites is cool, it's funny, it's hot, like but that look when you talk about a leader of men, you talk about somebody you want to go run a wall for, run a wall through for. When you talk about somebody you actually want to put your livelihood and body on the line for, in between those lines and numbers, there's somebody you picture. When you get this, when you see Dennis Allen, it's more. Forgive me, I'm not questioning this man at all. I know he got a lovely family, but I just get a lot of zest. I get a lot of meat and potatoes when it comes to Dan Campbell. I get charcuterie board when it comes to Dennis Allen. That's all I'm saying. That's it for Dennis Allen. I ain't gonna keep you too much longer, TJ.
Hey, man, I feel like this is appropriate for that statement.
Now, it's funny, y'all. A lot of talk about Derek Carr, and I peep what you said. Like, never again be fooled by this coaching staff. I'm not gonna lie, TJ. I sipped the Kool-Aid last year.
Me too.
I sipped the Kool-Aid last year.
This year
I was not happy with the decisions last year, but I still sipped that Kool-Aid. I don't know what type of sugar they use. It couldn't have been no Splenda, but I sipped the Kool-Aid. Now, here's the thing. Fast forward to this year. You want to know why I sipped the Kool-Aid this year again, TJ? Why is that? Because I felt like this year, Dennis Allen, okay, you got your guy at the QB position now. Now, I get y'all just had a dialogue about in today's NFL, 150, 160, whatever the number is, that's bottom of the barrel, middle of the pack quarterback money nowadays. I get that. But at the same time, I'm not getting middle of the pack production from my QB. And if I'm paying you $150 million, I don't care who the coordinator is. If Dennis Allen picked you for this position, I at least expect you to have some free reign at the line of scrimmage. I understand you still got to run the offense to how it's called, but god dang, man, like if you just see something, hey, we call them the vertical on 3rd and 5, like yo, let me check out of this. If I'm here to do what you want me to do, then let me do that. That's all I want to do.
I look at Derek Carr, to be quite honest with you, and I'm really questioning like those stats. That's why I feel like at this particular point, like he makes me feel like stats don't always tell the story. Like, like some guys, they might have like a high completion percentage, but they probably check down Charlie or something like that. So it's going to make their numbers look inflated. And let's just say, for example, also, let's just say you have some really good playmakers, right? Some guys that can make people miss, right? You check it. Like, what people don't understand is if a running back check, like you throw the ball to the running back and, you know what I'm saying, you might throw it 3 yards. If he scores a 64-yard touchdown, that's 64 yards that you threw. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though it was on his back. So a lot of the times, like, those numbers can be inflated, and we use that to try to justify guys. And it also makes us justify, you know, make these quarterbacks justify themselves, but it don't always tell the whole story. I feel like, honestly, this dude, I feel like right now, you know what I'm saying, they looking like some snake oil salesmen right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, sold us a bill of goods. Like, I'm not saying that the dude is not good, but right now he looking like, man, I don't know, man. He looking like a ticket scalper right now. I think you about to go see the Beyonce concert for the low price of, you know what I'm saying, $800-900 or something like that, because you got them tickets, and you know what I'm saying, you think they legit, and you walk up, you get arrested when you get to the door. That is what they're looking like.
For $900.
I mean, you up there with your platinum on, Renaissance and stuff like that. You ready to, you know what I'm saying, you ready to freeze like everybody else on, or mute, or whatever they be doing. And all of a sudden you realize that your tickets are not good. That's the way it's looking right now. But hopefully, I don't know, man. Hopefully Derek Carr can get it together. But right now, very little optimism about this season and what the Saints can do.
Very little. One last point, man. I'm gonna let you go. And you can feel free to interject if you think I'm overstepping or I'm talking crazy.
Nah, go ahead, man.
But when it comes to, now we want to get into play caller. When it comes to today's NFL, we seeing the Kyle Shanahan's. We seeing what's my guy name in Miami? I'm sorry, I don't know everybody.
Mike McDaniel.
We seeing Mike McDaniel. We seeing Sean McVay and what he was able to do with Jared Goff and eventually Matthew Stafford. We're seeing Andy Reid. And in today's NFL, like, yeah, bro, it's cool to have a great defense. It's cool. But from the looks of it, I'd rather be back in those 79 days with that offensive prowess, because at least, like, with that bend and don't break defense, like, all right, we at least can put up 25, 30, 40 points on a good day.
Right.
We might be able to stop them from 42, but hey, if we can, we can. But we got a chance, at least with some offense. We can at least put some numbers on the board.
I think the people just want to feel like they have a chance. Like, yeah, you know, like, man, I hate to keep on bringing this up, but it's like with Drew Brees, like during the time, like, you know, like, man, the 2010, no, I won't say 2010, about 2013, about 2016, like when they couldn't stop a nosebleed, right? But you knew, like, Drew Brees about to go out there and light it up. Like, I think about that game when they played the Giants. You remember, like, Drew Brees had 7 touchdowns, and Eli Manning had like 6. And like they were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wish we had some defense, but at least these boys putting up some points. These boys were balling. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, man, you don't know what you're gonna get. Like, seriously. I like the Saints, to me, they look like they basically draw up plays by hitting darts, you know what I'm saying, on a dartboard. Like, they just put plays on a dartboard, and whatever they hit, okay, we're gonna call that. Like, no rhyme, no reason, no nothing, right? Just calling something, hoping that it worked. Like, no confidence, no nothing. Look, I'm serious, man. When you look at Chris Olave, like, this dude seemed like he probably a quiet guy. You know what I'm saying? He don't really, like, be on social media and all that kind of stuff like other people. You know, like, he seemed like a reserved guy. When you see him out there, like, giving a half effort, like, I question that, because he don't seem like that type of guy. I never, like, I watched so much Chris Olave film, like, you know, during the time where I felt like the Saints were going to draft him. I ain't never seen that dude take plays off like that. Like, I don't care if it was like middle of the game, he done ran so many different routes. That dude was like running routes at 12%. And I think that speaks volumes. Like, these players offensively do not believe in Pete Carmichael
at all.
And honestly, like, the energy that Alvin Kamara was with in that locker room, man. Look, that man said something has to change because he don't like losing. Like, that man just flat out said that, and it made it seemed like he had his wits in. So you can keep on rolling out Pete Carmichael for the next couple of weeks and stuff like that. I'm telling you, that dude gonna lose that locker room, and once he lose that locker room, that's gonna be a wrap. Like, we gonna be talking about the Saints being one of the worst teams. So they gonna have to figure it out, man. They gotta keep that locker room together, because dudes only gonna listen for so long if they actually believe that they're going to get out of this. But when you constantly seeing the same thing, rinse and repeat, no matter who the quarterback is, no matter who on the offensive line, no matter who the wide receivers are, like guys gonna be like, man, this ain't it, and they're gonna start making business decisions. You know, I ain't about to go out here and get hurt for a team that ain't about nothing. I can wait for my contract to be up, or you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna make sure that I'm ready for my vacation to Cancun towards the end of the year because I know we ain't going nowhere.
Constantly patching up a ship full of holes, man. Constantly kicking down the salary cap, just trying to relive the glory days when it's probably just best to just blow it all up, man.
Yeah, in the words of L-Zone Frozen, just let it go, man. Let it go, move on, and let's just start from scratch and let the chips fall where they may, man.
Yes,
but
sir.
Sanchez, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the dialogue, appreciate the take.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you call back anytime, man.
Will do, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, shouts out to Sanchez, man. Good call right there. Good call, good stuff. Let's go ahead and get through these phone calls, and then we'll go ahead and look at the chat, and we'll just wrap it up from there. Let's go to Izzy. Izzy, how you doing?
Hey, CJ, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Thank you for chiming in. I really do appreciate it. You're out in Kansas City, right?
Yes, I was, but now I traded one AFC team for another one. I live in Delray Beach, Florida now.
Oh, okay.
I'm closer to these Miami Dolphin fans, and they're about killing me, okay? I'm so glad they lost this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they swag was on the all-time high going into this game versus Buffalo, but Buffalo humbled them. I mean, the NFL is a humbling league. Like, no matter how good you think you are, there's always a team that has your number on any given Sunday.
Right. And I was hoping Kansas City lost too, but that's okay. That'll be another time. I am traveling back because I went to the game Sunday.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
I know. But you know what? Let me tell you, going into the dome is different from watching it on TV. Like, it is a whole experience.
Yeah.
And so while the fans we were in it, like, from the beginning, from the moment Alvin Kamara walked out there. Oh my God, it was lit. Like, we saw Alvin and everybody was going crazy. It was just, and then he did the chant, and we did the chant. It was just electric.
Yep.
Like, we knew we was going to win that game. And then it just didn't say that we were losing to Tampa Bay. It was like, God damn, we beating ourselves. What is going on?
Yeah. I don't know. It definitely wasn't because of y'all. I mean, you can actually like hear the crowd and the energy on TV. So I know it was loud in there, and also you had
energy. Yeah, it was like it was so electric. Like, and then there were some fans, they were like, okay, because we like to get real good seats, okay? So my sisters and I will get three home games a season.
Right.
And these next two that we're gonna go to, I don't know if I want to travel like that because I'm a teacher and I have to pay for this stuff. Okay, I don't get a lot of money, but the seats that we do get there are good because we were on TV a lot yesterday.
Well, that's good. Hey, you got your money's worth though, so at least you got some camera time.
Yeah. And remember, DJ, I told you a few months ago. I said I have zero confidence in Dennis Allen. We got the bomb personnel, but zero confidence in his leadership. Yeah. He looked like a chicken with his neck cut off yesterday.
Wow.
The way he was walking back and forth, like he looked like a little rooster trying to find his way around. And I was like, what the heck? It looked like they just threw up a play and let's see if it works. Let's see if it's going to stick on the wall. Yep. I mean, it just looked confusing. It became like really, really, they really are. It is not about the team. It is more about him and Pete Carmichael. They were calling their behind on the fire yesterday in that dome. They kept saying, fire Pete Carmichael. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, look, I think that I know people were saying like there was boos in a Superdome, especially like going into halftime. But that's definitely not what you want. You know, when you think about the Superdome over the past like decade, that was a tough place to play. Now I want to say they lost like 17 games.
They don't even care.
It's not even an advantage anymore. Like it's just sad. Like people come there all excited, thinking that the Saints gonna look like something, and then all of a sudden, like they just come out there and play like that. And like I said, there's no energy, there's no confidence in a coach. Like guys are just doing stuff for no reason. And I'm telling you, like it's human nature. When people feel like their back is against the wall and there are no answers, they go rogue. That's why I'm saying, like in the next couple of weeks, I will be shocked if this team continues to play the way that they do, and they start losing. They're gonna lose the locker room because they'll give you
insanity, TJ. Insanity. One thing I can respect about Tomlin, he ain't playing no punch. He ain't pulling no punches.
Yep.
There's gonna be change. How can you expect change to something different to happen if you're doing the same thing over and over again?
Right.
That's insanity. And please tell me, what was the purpose of putting Jameis Winston 2 minutes before the end of the game? What was the purpose? Bad decision making.
Yeah, they should have let Derek Carr finish out that game, but that's another thing. Like, you got people out there that don't like Jameis in the first place. The guy goes out there, throws like a pass down the field. Oh, see, that's the reason why he ain't played. Meanwhile, the quarterback that you've been wanting to play went 23 of 37 for 127 yards. So you like that better. I'd rather a guy, like, honestly, what could Jameis actually do in a situation like that? What, he supposed to check it down like Derek Carr been doing throughout the game? Like, this dude, like, just tried to throw a pass, tried to provide a spark, and it just didn't happen. And honestly, I don't blame him, because this guy practiced all week, and then all of a sudden, because you don't want to hurt Derek Carr's feelings, you just gonna go ahead and let him start. Like, so I don't blame him. Like, wow, like I do all this preparation, and you making me believe that I'm gonna start, which was the dumbest thing in the history. That shows you right there, like the type of idiots, you know what I'm saying, like that we have up in there right now. You're trying to convince the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that Jameis Winston is going to play. I said this on the last episode. Jameis Winston was the first pick overall to who? Tampa. So they got all this film on him, all the practice. So all they did was just focus on Derek Carr. So they probably wanted Derek Carr to play. They probably didn't care. Because they already prepared all week long, because they already knew what they was going to get with Jameis Winston. So that was dumb in its own right. Like, no, you're not fooling anybody. Like that man, it's just stuff like that just make you just realize, like, these guys are in over their head.
My last comment, TJ, and I'm sure there are many of us who love football that share this sentiment, because that's all that's been on X and Thread and whatever that other one is. And Facebook, and on all social media. Can they please retire Taylor Swift away from the NFL? Please put her away from the NFL. Don't think of the commercials and her being shown. Oh, I'm just tired. That's all.
Yeah, for real. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it myself. But Izzy, thank you so much. You be safe on that road. Safe travels to you, and thank you so much for telling us about your experience at the Dome. Hopefully, the next time you show up to the game, you have something more positive to share with us.
Chicago, we going to Chicago and New Orleans in the Dome.
Okay, hopefully they win that game. I mean, as bad as Chicago look, I mean, we at least Chicago can put up 20 plus points. I mean, take care.
You. All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, at least Chicago can put up at least 20 points. Like, at least you know that Chicago can put the ball in the end zone. I mean, can the Saints do that? I mean, that remains to be seen. I mean, call me old-fashioned, but back in my day, quarterbacks used to be able to throw the ball to receivers and they scored touchdowns. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but back in my day, they used to be able to do that. We're gonna go to D. D, how you doing?
What's going on, TJ? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. What you got for us, D?
Hey, man, I just, pretty much agreed everything you said yesterday, man. Like, such an abysmal day to watch football, man. Like I'm all the way up in upstate New York from Louisiana, man, and I paid for the Sunday ticket because we don't get the Saints. I get the Bills, which I'm about to convert to a Bills fan if this shit keep going the way it's going.
No. but you already rolling with one Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? You got the Coach Prime logo on the screen, so you might as well. Nah, don't give up yet, man. Don't give up.
Nah. I'm not, man. It's just the play calling, man. Let's get to that real quick.
Right.
But it was just so Manila, and like from the first one. Yeah, it was just so Manila, man. And I'm like, bro, what is he doing? See, last week they started off pretty good. You ran the ball, you went against Green Bay, who's 20th in the run, and then Tampa Bay, who's ranked 28th in the run. We didn't run the ball enough last week, and we didn't run the ball enough this week. Alvin Kamara had holes open for days. You saw it in the third quarter how effectively he was running the football.
All right.
Another thing too is, I don't know. I think Derek Carr is definitely in his head. I think whatever happened to him last season over in Vegas is just pretty much transferring over here to us because it's certain throws that he's making that he's looking for the big home run, man. It's like I'm looking at what Drew Brees set a standard for is first downs instead of touchdowns, man. And I don't understand what Pete calling on these 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6s, and 3rd and 7s. What you running 15 routes for, 15-yard routes for with 2 different receivers? Like, bro, like that it was that 3rd down. I think it was a 3rd or a 2nd down when Michael Thomas and Chris Olave ran the same route, man. I'm like, bro, this just not it, man. And far as DA, man, he just I don't know, man. He like you say, he a placement filler, man. I just think at the end of the year, we need to get rid of him. He go meet Sean in Denver, along with Pete Carmichael. They go to Denver, become the Denver Saints. We just need to start it over.
I agree.
Honestly.
I definitely agree with you, man. I just think that you just need to start. I think the fear of the R word, which is rebuild, just kind of scares the Saints, but in reality, it's going to force your hand anyway. I mean, based on the performance of your coaches and how the team looks, you're going to end up starting over anyway. So you basically kind of prolong the inevitable because these guys aren't the answer. I mean, it's just that plain and simple. And something else, that when you were talking about Derek Carr just kind of popped in my head. Look, I don't know, man. I think that Derek Carr has a level of toughness to him, but I also feel like he's mentally weak at times. Honestly, man, I don't know, man. It's just the kind of the communication major in me. I look at body language. I look at like certain things that people say. And one thing that really just kind of bothered me about him is like how he kept on holding on to what happened in with the Raiders. Oh, they ain't want me. They ain't want me. They ain't want me. Like, think about all these different like players that came, that have been a long time mainstay with their team. They go somewhere else. You don't see them like just constantly talking about the Raiders, constantly talking about, oh, they didn't want me. They didn't want me. I just feel like, to me, that just shows like, you can be a little bit mentally weak because this is a business at the end of the day. Like, honestly, them people don't really owe you anything. You know what I'm saying? You go out there, it's almost like, a job, right? You go to work, you get paid to do a certain job. Like, if people want to replace you, regardless of good, bad, or different, they can. It's their business, right? And especially like when you playing like slow, and then think about this, man. Like, bruh, playoff appearances, few and far in between. Several coordinators, like you only had like maybe like 2 or 3 years of success of being in some level of a conversation to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Like, sometimes you just got to look in the mirror and realize, man, maybe it ain't the organization, it's you. Period. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And he, like you said, he's playing like it in a way like, oh, he's trying to go out there and prove somebody wrong. But in reality, he's proving them right by how terrible he's playing.
Exactly. And, it's like it's certain stuff that he's not seeing on the field. I don't know where he's trying to go with the ball.
I don't know.
I don't know where he's trying to go with the ball. Like, you got Mike Thomas, you got Shaheed, you got Olave. You got 3 options, man. Whichever one come first. That's what I liked about what Jameis said last year. He's like, man, I have guys who can get open. It's my job to get these guys the ball. If you get open, I'm gonna throw you the ball. And the thing I can respect with Jameis is that, his risk taking gets him in trouble. But at the end of the day, he's not indecisive. He's gonna throw who he want to throw to, and he's gonna stick with it. Just like you saw a little bit in Green Bay, he got Mike involved a hell of a lot than what Derek could do. And it's you know, and sometimes I be thinking like, you know, what Sean did for Mike is kind of like what McVay doing for Cooper Kupp. It's schematics. It's schematics, man. Since Sean has left, Mike has not been in that schematic as we been seeing, because, you know, I don't want to jump off subject. It's like what the Rams are doing with number 14, Puka. He's looking like Cooper Kupp. And it's Sean, I think it's Sean McVay's scheme. And we right now we don't have that with Pete Carmichael. So if you know, in order for me to really believe, you need to get rid of Pete this week.
But we already know that ain't happening, D. I mean, he already said he ain't about to make no changes, and I'm glad that he not, because now, you know what I'm saying, y'all both can go down with the ship, okay? I mean, it just remind me of those violin players on the Titanic as it was starting to sink, right? You know what I'm saying? At the last moment when the ship was about to sink, it's like, it's a pleasure playing with you guys. You know what I'm saying? That's what I need them to hear around week 18. Look, it's a pleasure to play with you guys, and all of them can hold hands. And you know what I'm saying, and be able to walk about that door with pink slips in hand for each one of them. I don't care. Like I don't care how it happens, as long as it does happen. Now, you got anything else, man, before I let you go, D?
Yeah. Just one thing, and I'm gonna switch to the defense, man. You know, the defense last week, man. As much as we hold them to a high standard, man, it's hard to stay confident when your offense only giving you 45 seconds to get a break. And this week they just looked at flat. You know, they just looked at flat, you know, and it's something that we missing on that pass rush. You could kind of see the age in Demario Davis, you can see the age in Cam Jordan, man. So, you know, I just hope they get it together, man. You know, I ain't saying the Super Bowl, but hell, let's get out of this. Let's make it. I say, like, I'm not saying a Super Bowl,
I'm about to say Super Bowl.
Man, let's try to make a run, but we gonna see though. T, I appreciate you having me on though, man.
All right, no problem, D, man. Thank you so much, man. I'll call back anytime, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Shouts out to D, man, all the way up there in Western New York, man. I mean, man, that's crazy. I mean, I know the weather around there gets really, really bad. So, man, shouts out to him. Gonna go to Pammy. Pammy, how you doing?
Hey, TJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I mean, something definitely got to be going on with Pammy on the phone. How you doing, Pammy? How you doing?
I am doing good, but I was just sitting here thinking, I got so tickled. You was talking about the pink slip. I want DA and Pete to go out holding the same pink slip together. I don't even want them to waste no paper on writing up no two pink slips. Right. Just put them both on one sheet.
TJ, they ain't worth the extra paper. God damn,
they ain't worth the extra paper and the ink, baby. You know, TJ, I stand 10 toes down on this. I refuse. I'll be 50 years old this year. Mm-hmm. I refuse to spend any more time watching the Saints until something changes. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna waste I'm not getting no more time. After 50, things go quick, real quick. And I refuse to sit up and spend 3 hours of my Sunday watching that mess on that field until something changes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like,
it is, TJ.
I mean, I've been a Saints fan. Like, I'm 37. I've been a Saints fan my entire life. And shouts out to my grandma. And I'm gonna say this right now. I'm sorry, Pammy.
That's
Grandmama,
okay.
you gonna call the show one day. All right. I know she's gonna see this. I know she's probably watching this right now. You're gonna call the show one day because
come on,
drop
Grandma.
some knowledge. But seriously. But I haven't seen things this bad like since the 90s, man. Like,
yes,
like that was like 1994, 95 New Orleans Saints right there. And man, that's something like, I mean, I haven't seen the energy this low among the Who Dat Nation since Mike Dicker was the coach. I mean,
amen.
It's bad. It's
amen.
Bad.
It is bad, TJ. And with all due respect to Josh, when he said that Derek Carr is a 65%. If last time I checked, 65% is failing. And we didn't pay you to come down here and fail like that. And Pete, let me go back to Pete Carmichael.
Okay.
Pete Carmichael is a sous chef. He'll never be an executive chef. He can help out. He can chop up some carrots and some celery, and he can get the broth going and all this other stuff. But he is not a chef.
Right.
He can't cook up a whole game plan.
Yep.
It's like he loses focus. He's standing up there looking like Mr. Magoo with that sheet of paper, all the plays, and it's like he loses complete focus when things go left. See, we need somebody in there that's gonna stand up and do like Eric Bieniemy did yesterday. No, they didn't win, but I tell you what, them Eagles fans was scared that the Commanders was gonna beat them.
Yep.
And that's what we need, TJ. I just, I don't know what to say. But I know I'm not spending no more no more of my son. I refuse to do
it. I just feel like how you're feeling is how a bunch of Saints fans are feeling right now. Like you gotta give somebody something to cheer for, to root for. And and I think about this too. Like you used the example about the sous chef and the executive chef. Like I look at Pete Carmichael. Like you ever seen like one of them action movies? Like you have like the main character, who the secret agent, and then you got the one guy who probably in his ear or something like that telling you, "Hey man, they got the spy. He's coming around the corner." You know what I'm saying? Like for you to take him out. That's what he is. Like he's not the guy out there. You know what I'm saying? Jumping over things, kicking and whooping behind. You know what I'm saying? He's the
absolutely.
Guy that's you know what I'm saying? Sitting in front of the computers. Like I think that he's a smart guy. I think he understands offense, but I just think that if you're asking him to do it consistently, I don't think he has what it takes.
No,
he's not going to call plays aggressively to a point where it's going to get guys fired up. He's just going to look at analytics and numbers and how it didn't work last week. It's not going to work this week. Like that's kind of like how it works. And you can't play like that. Like guys want to believe that you believe in them. And these guys don't feel like Pete Carmichael believes in them. I mean, Chris Olave, man, this dude had 108 yards against Green Bay, like catching one-hand snags and 50-50 balls. And he only got 4 targets and 1 catch.
Absolutely, TJ. And Olave, I'm going to tell you, he comes from a winning culture. He ain't used to this.
Yeah.
This is blowing his mind. He comes from Ohio State. They have nothing but a standard to go to the national championship every year. He ain't used to this.
Yeah.
This is blowing this kid's mind. He don't understand what's going on because he probably ain't lost at Pee Wee League. He don't know what's going on. He don't know what's going on. So I and one more thing, TJ. I just wish we could get in touch with the Little Giants. What was that little the analytical person that drew up the play?
I don't know his name, but I definitely know who you're talking about. Yeah,
we need him. Do anybody have his phone number? We need him to come draw up some plays. The annexation of the whatever that was.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
TJ, that's what we need, baby. We need.
Hey, we need something.
At this point, you got to laugh to keep from crying, TJ.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be truthful with you. I understand. I've been a fan since Earl Campbell, when he came over from Houston and played his last season with New Orleans. So I'm laughing, but inside I'm like, man, I can't believe we going through this and we got so much talent.
Man, we going out, man. We going out like some straight up suckers right now. Like I mean,
we are.
It's looking real bad, but I don't know, man. I don't know, Pabby. We gotta get this thing together. We gotta right this ship somehow. But I mean, I don't know. Like honestly, I would be shocked. Like I'm serious. I would be shocked if if they come back and start winning games like consistently. I would be shocked. I don't see that happening. I cannot see them, based on what happened last year, be able to keep this locker room in step after 2 years of ineptitude. I don't see that happening. Like these are some proud men up in that locker room.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And I think also, and I'm saying this one point, and I know you got to go, TJ. I think really, to be honest, they need to have a players only meeting. It's time. It's time for some people to get off in each other's ASS and be real about some things. That if we can't be coached up, we're gonna have to coach each other up. And so I don't know if it'll work, but hey, anything is possible at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they had like a players only meeting like last year, something like that at some time, and they was able to win like a couple games, but
it ain't sustainable.
Like I'm telling you, like I've been telling people since the beginning of this episode, like they'll probably come out there look much better offensively. They'll probably put up some points. They'll probably be able to execute. It's because everybody is hearing all of the talk and the tweets and how angry the fans are, and they're reacting based on our emotions, and that's not how it's supposed to work. Like don't just start like burning a midnight oil or coming up with all these innovative plays because you hear fans ready to run you out of town. Y'all should have already been trying to cook this thing up since the beginning of the season. So that's why I said it's not sustainable success. You're basically just being reactionary. And
absolutely,
it's not going to work. It's not sustainable success. I don't want you're not going to go into 2024 like with the same type of mentality. Like eventually, like you're going to run out. People are going to stop buying what you're selling, and you're going to end up being a bad franchise. So hopefully,
absolutely,
let them stay together. Let them stay together, and they can walk out of here hand in hand.
That's right, like Son and Cher.
With the same pizza. You know what I'm saying?
Son and Cher, Hall and Oates. All of that, all them famous duos that you can think of. That's right, Captain and Tennille, all of that together. So, but TJ, thank you for taking my call.
No problem, Pammy. Thank you so much for chiming in. Always a pleasure to see you in the chat, and thank you so much for chiming in on this episode.
Absolutely. And who that? And one more thing, my Grambling State Tigers did win this weekend and against PV. And so we gonna go. That's big. That's right. Absolutely. So I think Hugh kind of got us on a good path going. So anyway, thank you, TJ. Good night.
Good night to you too. Take care.
All right, darling. You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah, shouts out to Pammy, man. Pammy always in the chat. That's why I just made a joke. I'm like, Pammy call. People that's been on the podcast and like been here for a while, like y'all know how supportive Pammy is, man. The fact that she actually called in, like, you know, it got to be something serious. I'm gonna read a few comments and then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here, folks. Thank y'all for being here. We got 314 people watching this as of right now. I just ask that you hit the like button. Thank you for all the love and support for each and every one of you. I really mean that. And thank y'all for spending your evening tuning into the podcast. And those that are checking out the podcast probably after the live stream, this is for you. Thank you so much as well. Let's see. I think Cool Sports, he says, did you hear Big Time of TJ? Even the commentators were talking about how bad our plays. Yeah, I seen that. Robert Smith was reading them boys to ride at. And I'm glad he was, man, because, yeah, they're pretty terrible, man. Let me see. Joseph, thank you very much for your $1.99 donation above this one. And also this one right here. It says, Winston produced points when healthy. We got to see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if Jameis Winston was out there, you would have had more than 9 points. I just don't understand it. Like, I would feel so disrespected if I'm Jameis Winston. Like, rather you the biggest Jameis Winston fan or not, or you one of the detractors. Like, that was just mad disrespectful right there. You have a guy who is capable of at least, like, if you don't even feel like he's, every game starter, like in that particular situation, like you bring a quarterback out there that clearly wasn't 100%, right? And you felt like he gave you the best chance to win than an able-bodied quarterback who has a stronger arm than he does and has started in over 80 games. Like, that was just mad disrespectful right there. And that's the thing right there. Like, that's one of the issues that I have with Derek Carr. I feel like Derek Carr knew for a fact that he wasn't 100%. He knew for a fact that he wasn't going to be able to do some of the things that he needed to do as a quarterback. Like, Derek Carr leaves a lot to be desired, but for the most part, he's able to make some of the throws that he did not make on yesterday, and he probably would have made them if he would have allowed himself to heal up. But that was a selfish move. That was like one of them situations. I'm going to tell y'all this right now. And people got mad at me for saying this, but it's reality. It was the wild card game, the Saints versus the Minnesota Vikings. And I think y'all remember this play because it was a play that worked, right? Taysom Hill threw a 55-yard pass to Deontay Hardy, or Harris at the time. Now, we ain't going to talk about Hardy. Harris was a beast. Hardy, I don't know. But he threw a pass to Deontay Harris and for 55 yards. And everybody was just starting to get all excited and stuff like that. And people were cheering. And y'all remember that game, man. That's probably was Taysom Hill's best game in the Saints uniform, you know what I'm saying, in clutch situation. Everybody was, cheering and everything like that for the deep shot. The very next drive for the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, who didn't try to throw, he probably threw like maybe a handful of deep passes the entire season. One of them probably, the only one that really worked was the game against Kansas City when he caught Emmanuel Sanders down the right sidelines. Follow me. Drew Brees tries to throw a pass that 2010 Drew Brees would have thrown. But in 2019, it wasn't hitting on nothing. And it ended up getting intercepted. That was an ego throw. I'm saying that to say this. Derek Carr playing on Sunday was an ego move. I don't care what anybody says. Them dudes, like, they know what's up. They know the deal. They may not go back and forth with you on social media, but they read the social media and they read the tweets and they know there's a division among some Saints fans between who they feel like should be the starter. And probably in the back of his mind, and he probably don't want to admit it, but prove me wrong. A part of him probably was thinking to himself, what if Jameis Winston plays well? What if Jameis Winston plays well? That's what I feel. And that's the reason why he decided to go out there and give it the old college try. I feel like that was not the right move. We knew for a fact that the Saints coaching staff were not going to say no to him because they invested so much money in him and they want to make him happy. It was an ego decision. I'm sorry. Like, I respect the warrior mentality and all that kind of stuff there, but that was not just because you felt like you gave your team the best chance to win. It was more so about, what if this dude goes out here and plays well? This was a guy, I'm talking Derek Carr. It's not like he was lighting the world on fire. It's not like he's been scoring 4 and 5 touchdowns per game. This is a guy that's been trying to figure it out as a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. And what would happen if Jameis Winston was to go in the game, light it up, probably scored 3 touchdowns in a game? You'll probably see more improvement in the red zone. What happens then? I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but in the back of your mind, you got a guy who would have the same level of arm talent and abilities for the most part that you have, that's waiting in the wings, waiting for you to possibly slip up with an injury or possibly slip up having a bad game. And that was the decision. I don't care. I do not care. Derek Carr, in the back of his mind, honestly, in his heart of hearts, if you was to put this dude on a polygraph test, like put this dude, give this guy a polygraph test, I guarantee you, deep down in his core, he knew for a fact that he didn't give the team the best chance to win over Jameis Winston that game. And I feel like with that, that ain't the type of energy that you need. Like, I feel like that was some insecurity that made that dude start in this game. Like, I understand the AC sprain is a serious situation. It is a serious situation. Anybody ever had a situation like that? Like, it is very, very serious. Like, but he did not give the Saints the best chance to win. And I don't even really just truly 100% blame him. I blame Dennis Allen for making that decision. I blame the coaching staff. Like, sometimes you got to protect these players from themselves and say, hey, I want you to be here, but we're going to need you down the line. This was the 4th game of the season. So what would happen based on this terrible offensive line play, even though they played better this game, what would have happened if somebody would have came out there, them knowing for a fact that Derek Carr is dealing with a shoulder injury, and we know that these guys, man, look, we can try to pretend like these dudes don't be thinking in the back of their mind, man, they want to inflict some pain, but they want to inflict some pain. So what would have happened if that dude would have went out there and separated your shoulder? It would have made it even worse. Jameis Winston, whether you want to admit it or not, Jameis Winston is not as that terrible to a point where he can't back up a guy who's dealing with an AC sprain. Whether you like him or not, whether you want to support him or not, whether you want to talk about the interceptions or not, based on what we've seen from Derek Carr, there's nothing that I feel like he done so great that he should have started over Jameis Winston in this game. And if the Saints were actually, a competent franchise to this point where they can lay down the law, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Honestly, as a coach, I would rather, if I have a quarterback that I feel like gives me the best chance to win and he's hurt, but I have another quarterback that's behind him, I am willing to take everything that comes with it by sitting that quarterback down and saying, you know what, we're going to need you down the stretch. This quarterback right here, he can get us to the promised land. That decision, it may not have been the whole reason why he started, but I guarantee you it was part of it. Like, these guys read the dirt sheets. I don't care anyway. I don't pay attention to social media. Man, knock it off. Knock it off. Why do you think all these dudes be getting caught with burner accounts and stuff like that? Like, they know what's going on. They know what people are saying about them. And they understand about this division among some Saints fans between who they feel like would give the Saints the better chance to win. In the back of his mind, I do not care. It's just human nature. You're thinking to yourself, what happens if this dude goes out here and he plays well? Then you have yourself a quarterback controversy. We see this all the time. A starter goes down, another guy comes in, he plays well, and the next thing you know, the starter getting shipped out of town for the other guy. We've seen this happen with Dak Prescott, with Tony Romo. We've seen it with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. I mean, the list goes on and on. So he hasn't played to a point where he feels like his job is solidified in New Orleans, besides the fact that he's getting paid $150 million. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's see. When do you think they would put the best guy in the game, especially when they know their job's on the line? That shows you right there. You know, that comfortability. Maybe they don't feel like their job is on the line, because probably behind the scenes, they probably being reassured, like, everything's going to be okay, man. Rough game, isn't it? Like, Big Sean, what evidence do you have that Carr is better? Man, look, I don't care if you think Carr is better or not. 80% of Derek Carr is not better than 100% of Jameis Winston. Like, if you want to convince yourself of that, that's fine. Maybe your vitriol and your hate and your and despising Jameis, it hits that hard. But you're not about to convince me. You're not going to convince me that a 80% Derek Carr, based on what you've seen in a Saints uniform in 2023, is better than Jameis Winston at 100%. Like, you can believe that if you want to, but I ain't buying what you're selling. I'm not buying what you're selling. There's not honestly, a person on here. There's not an individual on here, a person on here that honestly believes that the New Orleans Saints would have scored 9 points with 100% Jameis Winston. Like, whether you dislike this dude or not, there's not a person on this chat that's looking at this right now can honestly, wholeheartedly believe that the Saints would have only had 9 points with an able-bodied Jameis Winston. You're not about to convince me of that. But like I said, I don't even really blame Derek Carr. I blame the coaching staff for making that decision and allowing him to go out there when they know for a fact that he had an ailment. You rather go with a guy who has an ailment with a possibility of re-injuring himself or really hurting himself. I don't care what anybody says. Like, man, it's a low probability that he can hurt himself again. Nah, bro. Y'all can convince that if you want to, but the way that offensive line was playing, that was a death sentence based on, like, they played better, okay? But the sample size that we got, that was considered a death sentence based on how that offensive line played the week before. So that was a selfish move, in my opinion, and that wasn't the right decision by the coaching staff. Bro, between the Saints and LSU, I can't deal with all this. TJ, I know we all have high hopes, so that's why it's so hard for us. But let's not believe the tough guy. Carr wasn't 100%. He's a smart quarterback and good enough to do it all. He should have rested for week 5. That's my whole point. Like, this has nothing to do with the fact, like, I'm not getting into that debate. Like, that's a ever-ending debate right there. Like, people that roll with Jameis, you're not going to convince them that that Derek Carr is better and vice versa. So I don't even try to get to it. I like both guys. I think both guys are really good, family men, leaders. I think they try hard. But in this particular case, based on what I've seen out of Derek Carr over the last couple of games, I don't feel like there was no need or no reason for the New Orleans Saints to not want to roll with Jameis when Derek Carr is hurt. And the only reason, honestly, I don't want to say the only reason, but one of the main reasons I feel like he played is because he know for a fact he hasn't played good enough to a point where it convinced Saints fans that he is the answer. And that's the reason why he went out there. I feel like if Derek Carr would have started off against the Tennessee Titans, he would have threw for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns. He wouldn't have played week 4. He wouldn't have. Because there would have been a nice sample size and had the Who Dat Nation all excited and hyped up about what Derek Carr can do for the franchise down the line. But because he has 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and, and leaving a lot to be desired as of right now as a quarterback, that was the reason why he played. Because a part of him probably was wondering to himself, what if Jameis goes out here and plays well? Amen, TJ. At this point, the debate between Jameis and Derek is just noise. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Like you're not gonna. I think the thing people need to understand is no matter what you try to come with, you're not going to convince anybody if they roll with Derek Carr that Jameis is better, or if you roll with Jameis that Derek is better. So you're not going to convince that. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to convince them. So at this time, like basically you kind of like what they say, spitting in the wind, or how does that free? I guess that's how it goes. You know, like you're just wasting your time. Let's see. I wrote for the other team and wanted Carr to play over Winston. Thank God that happened for us. Yeah, you know, like you probably rooted for the other team, wanted Carr to play over Winston. Thank God that happened for us. But look what happened. Look what happened. You know what I'm saying? The outcome was pretty much the same outcome that you thought would happen with Jameis. And quite honestly, it was terrible. It was like I just want the team to win. I just want the team to be put in the best position to win. And I don't think that selecting Derek Carr for week 4 was the best decision. I just don't. It's about who is better for that game. Was Derek Carr better for that game? Like you got to ask yourself, who was better for that game? Was he better for that game? Based on what you saw, 9 points, no touchdowns, right? I mean, inaccurate throws, like check down Charlie, like that was good. Like you rather just you despise Jameis Winston. That I'm not saying you now. I'm not saying. Let me make sure I'm saying this. BJ, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying like just in general. Like if your vitriol, your hatred, your despising Jameis Winston is that deep, then I don't know, man. Like maybe you need to like focus on another team or something like that, or focus on something else because I want the team to win. I don't care who back there. I don't care if they had Jake Hayner back there or Tim Tebow. I don't care who it is. Like if they back there, I'm rooting for them and I want them to win. I took a trip to Walmart and came back. TJ still on. I love it, TJ. Yeah, we about to wrap it up anyway, man. Got to wrap it up. Got some things I need to work on. I don't know. I might check out the Monday Night Football game tonight. I think what I'm gonna start doing, and it's gonna be like for the Gumbo Pie Sports page. I might end up selecting a game every single week outside of the Saints game and probably do a live reaction because Gumbo Pie, for those that don't know, Gumbo Pie Sports is kind of my off-brand. I'll talk about like other sports. And I've been trying to find ways where I can create content for that particular page. So if you think that's a good idea, if you'd be willing to like maybe have a watch along or something like that where we actually pick a game, probably let you all choose, like come up with a game, the highest percentage, that's the game that we'll watch, and we'll kind of just break it down and talk about it, and maybe be a little jealous because the offensive line of that team probably doing a little something. They can generate some points. But all in all, I'm thinking about doing that as a concept. So what y'all think? Would y'all be willing to look at something like that or check something like that out? Just let me know. I think that would be a good idea. Because sometimes, like, as far as the Saints game and watch alongs, I'm so like focused on the game. I don't think that would really be good content, right? And then I'm so emotionally invested in the Saints for better or for worse that I don't feel like that'll just be good commentary. Yeah, as y'all can see, like especially like some of my halftime shows when they just looking like slow, I think it pretty much shows you type of energy I have when I'm watching the game. No, TJ Winston was the healthier guy, which opened up the playbook for your team. Was more scared of the live arm than a hurt guy. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I think they should have went with that. I think they should have went with that. And finally, we'll close it out with since his last year's Super Bowl was on Abraham Lincoln's birthday, first Super Bowl with 2 black quarterbacks. This year, the Super Bowl is on the Vatican's birthday, Saints over Ravens in Super Bowl. I don't know about all that, man. I mean, that prediction looking kind of slim, maybe for the Baltimore Ravens, but not so much for the New Orleans Saints. My point in Pete Carmichael is the problem. I think we all agree with that. Final thought about all this is, as we close the chapter of week 4, strap in, Who Dat Nation. We're in for a bumpy ride here. All I can say is your allegiance and your love for this team definitely going to be tested from week to week. We really going to find out who the real Who Dats are. We really going to find out like what Saints fans have just been riding the wave since 2006, or the ones that really just been there, and willing to go down with the ship. I like to consider myself as one that goes down with the ship, and I'll be right here giving you all Saints coverage, giving you all the best content I possibly can. I want to say thank you to everybody that chimed in, that called in. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the people that donated. I really do appreciate you. Let me see. I want to make sure that I didn't miss any of these donations. I think Cool Sports says DA won't fire Pete Carmichael because he's too worried, about hurting his feelings. The main reason he's not a good head coach, no guts, like you say, TJ. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of over Dennis Allen at this point. A Tiger doesn't change his stripes. In this case, a defensive coordinator doesn't change into a head coach. It says Carr went off the field literally pouting, baby. Yeah, he definitely, did. And like I said, body language is important. And, that ain't the energy that you want, and definitely for a guy that you're paying that type of money for. I mean, that's just the reality. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We got previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. So you can follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. I really do appreciate you all. Much love to you. I hope everybody has a good night or whatever you're watching this podcast. Till next time, all I got to say is, Who Dat?
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.